When someone with a pure heart loves you, that's not something to take lightly. It's a rare kind of love, steady, patient, and real. But when that kind of heart gets broken by deceit or ego, universe listens. You may not see it right away, but karma always finds a way to restore balance. The peace he once felt will start to fade, because you can't break something pure and expect your own soul to stay untouched. He thought your kindness was weakness. He believed your compassion made you easy to manipulate, that your forgiveness meant you'd always come back, no matter how many times he disappointed you. But what he never understood is that kindness is not a lack of strength. It's the highest form of it. It takes power to love in a world that often rewards indifference. It takes courage to give someone the benefit of the doubt when you've been hurt before. And it takes incredible emotional maturity to stay soft in a world that keeps trying to harden you. What he saw as weakness was, in fact, your greatest strength. Pure hearts confuse people who operate from ego. When someone's used to games, they don't know how to receive genuine affection. They don't know what to do when love doesn't come with manipulation, when care isn't tied to control. So instead of valuing that purity, they test it, they push boundaries, they see how far they can go before you break. And when they see your patience, they assume it's permission. They don't realize that just because a heart is forgiving doesn't mean it's blind. Just because you stayed doesn't mean you didn't see. It means you cared enough to hope they'd rise to meet your love. But there's a point where the pure heart stops explaining itself. There's a moment when the person who gave everything finally understands that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. And when that shift happens, karma starts working. Because what he thought was his control, the idea that you'd never leave, that you'd always understand, suddenly disappears. The energy he used to take for granted is gone. The peace he once felt around your presence turns into restlessness. That's karma's way of teaching him the truth he refused to see. You don't lose a pure heart without consequences. Karma isn't some mystical punishment, it's reflection. It mirrors what we give. He gave you inconsistency, manipulation, and pain, and for a while it looked like he got away with it. But the universe doesn't work on your timeline, it works on truth's timeline, and truth always finds its way back. When you have a pure heart, your healing becomes your justice. You don't have to wish him pain or regret, it comes naturally, through the silence of your absence and the realization of what he destroyed. People like him often mistake indifference for strength. They think they're winning when they can detach, when they can walk away without feeling. But it's not real strength, it's avoidance. True strength is facing emotions, owning mistakes, and growing through discomfort. That's what pure-hearted people do naturally. So while he was busy protecting his ego, you were growing. You were evolving into someone who no longer needs validation from those who can't match your energy. And that growth will haunt him more than any revenge ever could. He will remember the way your kindness made him feel safe. He'll remember the way your presence grounded him, how your love softened parts of him he didn't even know existed. And one day, when peace no longer comes easily to him, when guilt and restlessness take its place, he'll understand that breaking something pure doesn't just hurt the other person, it wounds your own soul, because you can't deceive, manipulate, or disregard real love without losing a piece of your own peace in the process. That's karma. It's not loud or cruel, it's quiet and patient, just like the heart he broke. And eventually, when he realizes that your kindness was never weakness, it'll be too late to have it again. You gave genuine love while he gave games. That's the painful truth that most people with pure intentions eventually face. You were loving with sincerity, with presence, and with an open heart, while he was performing, calculating, and protecting his ego. You weren't trying to win, you were trying to build. You weren't trying to impress, you were trying to connect. But he wasn't ready for real connection. He was addicted to control. He wanted to feel wanted, but not needed to show up in the way love requires. So he played, he tested, he pushed just far enough to feel powerful without realizing that the only thing he was really losing was something real. Real love doesn't chase, it gives freely. It's the kind of love that listens without judgment, that forgives because it understands imperfection, that stays because it believes in potential. That's the kind of love you gave not because you were desperate, but because you had depth. You saw beyond his flaws. You saw the parts of him even he didn't acknowledge. You offered stability in a world where most people only offer convenience. And he didn't know what to do with that. He didn't know how to receive love without sabotaging it, because for someone who leads with ego, real intimacy feels threatening. When love isn't earned through manipulation, it doesn't feed their pride, it exposes their insecurity. He was used to love that felt like validation, not vulnerability. That's why your presence unsettled him. You didn't make him chase attention, you gave affection. You didn't inflate his ego, you nurtured his soul. And for someone who's not at peace within himself, that kind of love feels too raw, too revealing. So instead of appreciating it, he tried to test its limits. He wanted to see how far he could push before you'd stop giving. He wanted to see if your love was unconditional or if he could break it without consequences. What he didn't realize is that karma begins the moment you treat something genuine like a game. When love is real, it carries an energy that can't be replaced. You can't fake the comfort, the care, or the calm that comes from being loved by someone with a pure heart. And when that love is gone, it leaves a void that no distraction can fill. That's where karma starts to do its work. While he's out there seeking validation from temporary connections, he'll start to feel something missing, not drama, not excitement, but peace. The same peace your love once gave him without effort. He'll scroll through old memories, try to fill the emptiness with noise, but nothing will replicate the feeling of being loved by someone who expected nothing but honesty. And the irony of it all is that you didn't need karma to punish him, you just needed to stop playing. The moment you walked away, his game ended. The moment you stopped responding, his ego lost its fuel. That silence is the start of his lesson. He'll realize that genuine love doesn't compete with games. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply removes itself from where it's not valued. You, on the other hand, will come to understand that giving genuine love is never wasted. It just teaches you who can receive it and who can't. You'll stop asking, "Why did he treat me like that?" and start understanding that people can only meet you at the level of their own healing. And his lesson, his karma, is realizing too late that the love he took for granted wasn't something he could find again. It was something he was supposed to grow into, but he chose to play instead. Now the game's over, and all that's left for him is the silence of a peace he no longer deserves. His temporary high will become his lifetime lesson. When someone acts from ego, they live for the short-term thrill, the rush of attention, the feeling of control, the illusion of power that comes from making someone else care more. In the moment, it feels like victory. He felt strong when you were the one trying, when he could withdraw affection and watch you reach for it. It fed his ego, and for a while that was enough. But the truth about ego is that it's never satisfied. It needs constant validation, constant reassurance, constant fuel. And when he lost the person who gave love freely, who saw him deeply, who accepted him without conditions, that temporary high began to fade. At first, he didn't feel the loss. People like him rarely do immediately. They confuse your silence with indifference, your absence with relief. He probably told himself he made the right decision, that he was better off, that he could find someone else just as kind, just as patient, just as forgiving. But karma doesn't rush. It lets time do the teaching, and over time, what once felt like freedom starts to feel like emptiness. That's how karma works. It turns the very thing he used to take for granted into the one thing he can't seem to find again. Ego convinces people they can break something pure without consequences. It tells them, you're in control, you can always go back. But life doesn't work like that. The energy you put into the world always circles back, and when it returns, it brings clarity. He'll start to see that the thrill he chased was nothing compared to the peace he lost. He'll realize that attention from others doesn't fill the silence the way your voice did, that physical presence doesn't equal emotional safety. He'll try to distract himself, to find comfort in new people or new routines, but every moment of temporary satisfaction will dissolve into the same lingering question, why does it still feel empty? That's when karma whispers, because you traded something real for something easy. The truth is, every action rooted in ego carries its own seed of regret. He thought hurting you proved power. It actually revealed weakness. He thought walking away made him free. It only left him restless. He thought detachment would protect him. It only kept him lonely. The universe doesn't punish with cruelty. It teaches with contrast. It lets him experience everything he once made you feel: uncertainty, insecurity, emotional chaos, until he understands the value of what he destroyed. What he'll come to realize, often too late, is that your love wasn't ordinary. It had presence, depth, patience, the kind of qualities you don't notice when you're busy feeding your ego. But when everything around him starts to feel shallow, when the people he attracts only want what he can offer, not who he really is, he'll begin to miss what you gave effortlessly. That longing, that realization, is karma at work, not as revenge, but as truth, and you won't need to see his regret. You'll be too busy living the life that comes after healing, one where your peace is no longer dependent on anyone's validation. Because his temporary high was just that, temporary, but your growth, your self-worth, and your emotional clarity are lasting. And while he's stuck replaying what he lost, you'll be moving forward, free from the weight of proving your value to someone who never saw it until it was gone. That's how karma works. It lets them taste the emptiness they created and leaves you with the quiet satisfaction of knowing your peace was never his to break in the first place. Your healing is his mirror. Every time you choose peace over pain, every time you smile again after nights spent crying, every time you start to feel whole without him, the universe holds up a mirror to the person who broke you. He may not realize it at first, but your healing is a reflection of everything he lost, and more importantly, everything he failed to be. The same heart he once took for granted becomes the proof of what real strength looks like. You're not seeking revenge, and you're not chasing closure. You're simply growing, and that growth will do more to awaken his conscience than any words ever could. When you were broken, he probably felt in control. He might have thought that your pain validated his worth, that as long as you were hurting, he still mattered. That illusion gave him comfort, at least temporarily. But when you started to heal, when your energy began to shift, when your silence stopped being about sadness and started being about peace, that's when karma began its quiet work. Because there's something deeply unsettling about realizing that the person you thought you had power over no longer reacts to you. The peace that once drew him in now exists without him, and that's a reflection he can't escape. Healing is the one thing ego-driven people can't compete with. They can handle anger, tears, or even confrontation. Those still mean they hold space in your mind. But peace, indifference, joy without them, that's what shakes them, because peace means you've detached from their control. It means their opinion, their validation, and their attention no longer define you. And that's the beginning of their karma, the moment they realize their actions can no longer reach you. Your healing forces them to see themselves clearly, often for the first time. At first, he might try to downplay it. He'll convince himself you've moved on too quickly or that you're pretending to be fine, but the universe has a way of revealing authenticity. Your glow won't be performance, it'll be peace. Your laughter won't sound forced, it'll be freedom. Your silence won't be empty, it'll be powerful. And with every new step you take toward your purpose, he'll start to feel something inside him shift. It's not jealousy, it's awareness. Awareness of the stability he once had, the love he dismissed, and the connection he shattered. That awareness is karma's most honest form. Your healing doesn't punish him, it exposes him. It highlights his immaturity, his emotional inconsistency, his inability to meet you at your level. When you were broken, he could pretend he was the stronger one. But when you rise, when you stand tall with grace instead of bitterness, he no longer has that illusion to hide behind. He sees, maybe for the first time, that you were the steady one. You were the one who loved without conditions. You were the one who gave from wholeness, not from need. And realizing that too late is a lesson only karma can teach. The irony is that your healing doesn't require his suffering, it just happens naturally. And yet, the more you move forward, the more he feels the distance between who he was with you and who he's become without you. The peace that fills your days will create restlessness in his. The confidence you exude will make his insecurities louder. That's how energy balances itself. You don't need to make him regret losing you. Life will take care of that. And that's the beautiful twist. Your healing isn't just about recovery, it's about transformation. You become a version of yourself that even you hadn't met before, strong, radiant, grounded. And while you're out there building a life filled with peace and purpose, he's left staring at a reflection he can't escape. Because your healing became his mirror, and what he sees now isn't your pain anymore, it's his own. There comes a point when the universe steps in to balance what someone thought they could get away with. When he broke your heart, he might have walked away feeling untouchable, like he could move on without consequence, like your pain was just collateral damage. But the thing about energy is that it doesn't disappear, it circulates. What we put into others eventually finds its way back to us. And the kind of peace you carry after heartbreak isn't born from bitterness. It's born from the quiet understanding that life has a way of correcting what was unfair. Karma doesn't always show up with fireworks or dramatic endings. Sometimes it arrives in whispers, in moments of emptiness, regret, or confusion that mirror exactly what he once made you feel. The truth is, when someone breaks a pure heart, they might think they've won something. Maybe they got validation, maybe they got control, maybe they got to feed their ego. But what they don't realize is that every time they act carelessly toward love, they trade a part of their peace for temporary power. And power fades. The ego is loud but fragile. It needs constant fuel. So while he may seem fine on the outside, inside, life slowly starts taking back what it once gave so freely. The peace he once had becomes unsettled. The joy that used to come easily starts feeling hollow, because you can't destroy someone's peace without eventually losing your own. Karma doesn't need your help. You don't have to wait for revenge or validation. You don't even need him to see your worth. That's no longer your burden. Life will teach him through absence. He'll feel the silence where your love used to be. He'll crave the calm that once surrounded him when he was with you. He'll start to miss the energy that made him feel safe, the same energy he took for granted. It won't hit him all at once. It'll be slow. It'll be subtle. He'll see reminders of you in unexpected places, a song, a smell, a phrase. But what will haunt him most isn't missing you. It's realizing that he broke something that was genuine. That's the kind of regret that doesn't go away. And here's what's poetic about karma. It teaches through reflection. Just like your healing mirrored his loss, his peace will mirror your past pain. The same confusion he caused you will visit him. The same emptiness he left you in will eventually find its way to him. It's not because the universe is cruel, it's because the universe is balanced. You can't keep taking without giving, and you can't keep breaking hearts without eventually feeling the cracks in your own. What he took lightly, life will make heavy. What he dismissed, life will make impossible to ignore. You see, karma isn't punishment, it's awareness. It's that moment when a person finally sees what they've done through someone else's eyes. When they start to feel the emotions they once brushed off in another. He may not admit it, and you'll probably never hear him say it out loud, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. His peace is slowly being replaced by restlessness, because deep down, even his ego can't silence the truth. He lost someone pure, and there's no undoing that. But while his peace fades, yours grows. That's the beauty of letting karma do its work. You're not stuck in the cycle of trying to make things fair. You've stepped out of it. You're building your own calm, your own joy, your own life. And every moment you choose peace over pain, forgiveness over revenge, you shift the balance back in your favor. That's how you win, not by hoping he feels what you felt, but by knowing you'll never feel that kind of pain again. The universe doesn't forget. It just waits for the right time to remind us that what we give to others is what we eventually receive. He broke your heart, but in doing so, he broke his own peace, and that's karma doing exactly what it does best. There's something deeply powerful about moving on without looking back. When you stop trying to understand why he did what he did, when you stop needing closure or validation, you take back all the power you unknowingly gave away. Because closure doesn't come from them, it comes from you deciding that the story doesn't get to live in your head anymore. When you stop revisiting the pain, you stop feeding the connection that once kept you tied to him. That's when your healing starts to turn into strength. You begin to see that walking away wasn't about losing him. It was about reclaiming yourself. You stopped waiting for karma to show up, and instead became your own justice by building peace he can never touch. Karma doesn't need witnesses. It doesn't need you to check if he's suffering or regretful, because the truth is, the universe has a quiet, methodical way of delivering lessons. You may not see it, but he will feel it. It'll come in the form of restlessness, of emptiness that success or attention can't fill. He'll feel a void that no distraction can quiet. That's what happens when you break something pure. You lose access to real peace. But by then, you'll have outgrown the version of yourself that still needed him to realize your worth. You won't even care about his regret anymore. That's when the real transformation happens, when the need for his karma dissolves, because you've already risen above the story. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means refusing to let it define how you love, how you trust, and how you live. It means learning from it without becoming hardened by it. There's a quiet dignity in that, a kind of strength that doesn't shout but radiates. When you reach that place, you realize that forgiveness isn't for him, it's for you. It's not an act of weakness. It's a declaration that his actions no longer have access to your emotions. The moment you stop seeking fairness, life starts giving you freedom. You begin to attract new energy, new people, and experiences that feel light because you're no longer carrying the heaviness of the past. He might one day see you again smiling at peace, glowing in a way he can't understand. That's when karma will whisper the truth he avoided for so long. He lost someone who loved him purely, and there's no one else who can love him that way again, but you won't feel satisfaction from his regret. You'll feel gratitude for the lessons, for the growth, for the person you became because of what you went through. Pain gave you depth, letting go gave you wisdom, and peace gave you power. You no longer need to look back and hope for his pain. Instead, you look ahead, grateful that you survived something that once tried to break you. Because the greatest form of karma isn't watching him suffer. It's watching yourself heal. It's living a life that feels light, free, and untangled from the chaos he left behind. He may have broken your heart, but he didn't destroy you. He just redirected you toward a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and softer at the same time. And that's what he'll never have again, the version of you that once gave him everything without holding back. So let karma do what it does. You don't need to control it, track it, or wish for it. Your only job now is to live, to love again, to be at peace. Because peace is the highest revenge, and freedom is the truest closure. When you live beautifully after pain, that's when karma completes its circle, not because he's suffering, but because you're finally free. You gave love from a place of purity, and while he may never fully realize what he lost, the universe always balances the scales. Your healing, your peace, and your growth are the real proof that you are unbreakable. He may wrestle with the emptiness he created, but you will continue moving forward stronger, freer, and more whole than ever, and that is the ultimate victory.